Hey, good morning, Year 9. So it's week 4 of lockdown. For most of you, it's starting to test a little bit now, but I just want to say how proud I am of you all. Everything I hear is always so positive. There's a few just need to just keep it going up to half term, everyone, not long away now. So our assembly today, I wanted to focus in on Holocaust Memorial Day. Now, that was on the 27th of January of this week. A really, really important day. And, I spoke to your history teachers. They tell me that you've learned about this in detail. So I didn't kind of want to spend a huge amount of time telling you what the Holocaust is because you are aware of that. But just a reminder that it was an attempt by the Nazis and their collaborators to murder all the Jews in Europe. And as a consequence of this, 6 million Jewish men, women, and children were killed in the ghettos by mass shootings, concentration camps, and extermination camps. And there's a picture just there, just showing you and representing what happened. We've got the guards just there with their guns, got women, children being ushered into the ghettos in Warsaw. So, I mean, I don't know if I'm lucky or unlucky. A couple of years ago, I went over to Krakow and went to Auschwitz. I wanted to to see what this looked like with my own eyes, when you've seen it in pictures and in books and videos, but actually to see it and feel the atmosphere of it was something that was, I don't think I've experienced before. This was Auschwitz 1, the main camp. So these are the photos that I took while I was there. So we can see we've got these big concrete buildings. Now, this is vastly different to the concentration camps that you kind of have in your mind, which you'll see in a couple of minutes. Because these are real big structured buildings. This was because this was an area that was taken over, so it was existing, and it was taken over by the Nazis. And you'll see the difference in just a few minutes. This part was just incredibly oppressive. Walking around this room that they had piled up, the belongings that were removed. So we've got glasses there, the shoes that just seem to go on and on and on. And this was, just a small representation of the belongings that were taken from the people that were, as they were moved into the ghettos, or into the concentration camps. Here we got, this is still in Auschwitz 1, so you can see the sleeping areas there. This wall that's up on the top right-hand corner there. So this wall was where they would kill people, and they told us that when we was there, the tour guide told us that what they would do, they would line up the family, they would shoot the children, then the wife, and then the father. And they did that again to punish the father, so that he got to watch his family being killed in front of his eyes. That bottom picture there of that building, that's the first of the gas chambers, which I did take some pictures of inside, but they're not very clear, and to be honest, they're not very nice to watch, so look at. But here's a poem, the Auschwitz poem. You may have heard of it before. I'm just going to play that for you now.
Auschwitz by Charles N. Whitaker. The semi-quaver chugging of the train on the track, and the people on board who will never go back, and the terror in the eyes of all the young ones to go, with no one knowing as the train comes to slow. Those men at the station as the ramps drop down, where humanity lost is the only crippled sound. Hope gone for those who stand behind the hard, sharp wire, and the smoke in the towers rises just a little higher. And the blue ink stabs a little harder in the skin, above the veins of despair where murder let it in. And the terror in the eyes of all those about to leave. Another train on the track, no last-minute reprieve. And the slow, crop-chipped chugging of the train on the track, and the people on board who will never go back. Auschwitz.
So here is Auschwitz 2, also known as Birkenau. As you can see here, I can't explain to you how vast it was. It was absolutely enormous. We got to go up into the guards tower and have a look, and I couldn't believe how big it was. But one of the biggest differences you can see by that picture that's behind here is that they are small, they're wooden, more wooden structures, or they were brick, but these were built by people that were living within the ghettos now. So these are people that are starving, hungry, have got zero energy, have been worked to the bone. So the structures have either fallen down, or many of the wooden structures were burnt down at the end. So you can just see the chimneys there, and there were thousands. It was incredible. One of the other biggest differences was this is inside. You see this picture here with the beds. This was inside one of those buildings that is still standing, that we could go in, and they are exactly as they was. And that's a massive difference you can see there between those beds and the ones that we saw in Auschwitz 1. So why the 27th of January? Why do we have Auschwitz Memorial Day? And it's because it was the day, it marks the day that Auschwitz-Birkenau was liberated. So what is genocide? Genocide is when a group of people is targeted for destruction just because of who they are, such as the race or religion. This happens in many countries around the world. In Cambodia, this happened between 1975 and 79. In Rwanda in 94, Bosnia 95, and Darfur in 2003. And unfortunately, it still goes on today. What can we do? So we do all of these things. You'll see there's obviously out of lockdown, there are lots of things that go on. And it is about us remembering and being aware of what happened and what is still happening in parts of the world. And it's that word awareness is so powerful, because it means that we understand consequences of actions, and therefore we are there in order to try and prevent that from happening again. So Holocaust Memorial Day, we learn about what happened. How does it make you feel? And you take action. And I think in this time that we're all in at the moment, with lockdown going on around us, part of our freedom is removed from us. We're not at school, we're not with our friends, we can't go see family, we can't do those things. And I think a message that comes from Holocaust survivors is that we shouldn't be consumed by darkness, because there is light at the end of the tunnel. And we need to look forward, and we need to stay positive and try and keep morale up for that reason. They did it. I mean, there was a 97-year-old Holocaust survivor the other day on the news who has just also had COVID and survived that. And what an inspiration she was. If you have a chance, just go back and watch that. She was on GMTV a couple of days ago. Right, guys, let's move on to our options. So these were our stages for our options. We have done part 1 and part 2. Now they've now been adjusted. So you've just been sent yesterday another virtual, or Wednesday another virtual assembly detailing the final options process, and your final options form is on there. So that needs to be completed via Microsoft Forms. So remember, you must be logged in into your school account to be able to do that. For most of you, that was not a problem in the first time round. So hopefully you've got the hang of it. We won't have any issues this time round. There are a couple of adjustments. Unfortunately, RS and music have been removed. Their numbers were too small. I really apologise for that happening. But unfortunately, that does happen with certain subjects. So just hopefully you can find, you can still get some solid options written down with things that you want to do. Don't forget, you must have either history or geography, and you must have either Spanish or French. Submissions, over 20 this week. These are the people here. Well done, everybody. Absolutely superb. This is going up all the time, and I'm really, really pleased to see this number growing every week that I look. But these are the top 20 people at the moment. Shout out. So Miss Hart has asked me to put some of the work that's been submitted for the competition, which I'll put up in a moment. So we've got Diana there. It's a superb piece of work there. I really like that. I like that sort of sketching, so that really appeals to me. Well done, Diana. We've got Nikita submitted this beautiful photograph. Absolutely stunning. Well done, Nikita. She wants me to let you know this is ongoing, so please get your submissions in to Miss Hart or the art department. The black and white art photography competition. Well done to those of you who have already entered. English. Miss Ahmed had asked me to put these slides in, so she sent me these over. So this is about your persuasive writing. So the following students have successfully persuaded me to buy these ridiculous and impractical objects through their use of persuasive techniques. She believes these students will be able to sell ice cream to an Eskimo and will be millionaires in the near future. Definitely stay in touch, anyone that does, please. Mummy, basically, you know me, it's a typical day where you're at work and you found yourself being held hostage, and the only way to get out alive is to eat a bowl of ramen in 1 minute, which I actually managed to do. I'll let you carry on reading those. I'll give you a minute, but well done, Farmy. Igor, your name comes up so much with English. She is impressed with you week on week, and you continue to strive in English. Well done, Igor. Please have a read of those, guys. Just pause this and have a read and see what if you would be persuaded by Igor Farmy to buy these inventions. And what makes this effective? By Justin S. Again, pause this, guys, if you want to read these in detail. Mohammed, well done. Paulina, is that to persuade using a forest techniques? Silly products. Oh, well done, Paulina. Breakfast Club. So Breakfast Club started this week. Oh, well done to all of those and the shout outs. Breakfast Club started this week. We've had a few pop in. It's been really nice actually just to hear some of you. Some of you turn cameras on, so really nice to see your faces. I'm actually logged in from about 8:30. I kind of started, people drop in and out. If you can, just drop in next week. Miss Baines comes on and Sophia from reception, and it's just a nice way to start the day. It's just been quite a good laugh at the moment. So I've enjoyed it. It's definitely made a difference to my day, having a laugh in the morning. So pop along, please. And last but not least, if you need to contact me, there are my details, everybody. If you need me, if you need some help with your options, let me know. Drop me a line and I will give you a call on Teams. We can arrange a bit of time on now. But well done, everyone. Keep up the good work.